Hello everyone, welcome to our channel, Rebecca Stew and the Crew. I'm Rebecca. Today we have a Dollar Tree craft idea for you guys. So let's go over our supplies for our first project today. We'll need a canvas frame with the canvas removed. We'll also need some bamboo sticks. You can find these over in the kitchen section at your local Dollar Tree. Also some paint color of your choice and a paintbrush. Today we'll also be using some scissors and some hot glue. We'll need a ruler, a pencil, and some ribbon. The ribbon I'm going to use about 1.5 inches wide. We'll also need some greenery and a needle and thread. We're going to do some very simple sewing, but we do need a needle and thread. You can find some over in the hair care aisle if you can't find it anywhere else in the store. We'll also need some decorative words of your choice or any kind of decoration you'd like to put on your picture, and some felt. And the last thing we'll need is a lighter. So let's get crafty. The first thing we're going to do today is take our frame, and we're actually going to mark one side all the way around at about 1/2 inch, and we're actually going to glue our bamboo sticks on the diagonal, and these little lines here that we're drawing are going to help us guide the bamboo sticks and where we put them to keep them equally spaced and on the diagonal. And drawing those little lines are really going to make it easier and help out. Now we're not going to glue the bamboo sticks to the front, to just one side. We're actually going to glue these to the front and the back, and it will help it to lay more flat and be a lot easier to get them to stay together in a grid pattern. So what we'll do now is just take some hot glue, and we're going to glue right on top of the frame and set these bamboo sticks on top. Now a few of these I've already cut down, making them a little bit smaller. I will have to trim them once I get all of the bamboo sticks onto the frame, but you don't really have to worry about cutting them down until the end, when you can cut them all down right to that bottom edge. So it's really up to you if you want to pre-cut them or just wait until you're done. As you can see, I'm just following the grid marks that we've made and gluing these on the diagonal. And then when we're completely done, what we'll do is we'll trim off all that excess bamboo, and we'll flip this over because we're going to glue the second set actually inside of the frame instead of on top. And that'll help our pattern be layered without an awkward amount of bulkiness on the back. I tend to find that when people do those crafts where they do the bamboo sticks going 2 different directions, it's a lot harder to get them to stay on, to stay together, to line them up. So I find it much easier to glue some to the back and glue the rest of them on the front. And you'll see what I mean here in just a minute. So we've got all of these pieces done on the back. We'll trim them up, and now we'll start working on the front. So all I do is I take my bamboo stick and I mark the inside of the frame on the stick, and then I'm able to cut it down to size. And I do that for quite a few, and then I'll start gluing them in place. So to glue these in place, for the very first one, I'm actually going to put glue on the whole piece and then slide it into that corner. And then the rest of them, I just put glue on the end, and then I slide it up into the frame on the diagonal until it touches that frame, so I know that it is actually sticking to those corners. Just put a generous amount of glue on the ends, and don't worry about seeing the glue. We're actually going to cover that up after we paint the frame. So now we're going to go ahead and paint the frame on the top, that inside edge, and the outside edge. You don't have to worry about painting the back. We're not going to see it. So all we're going to do is add 1 layer of that chalk paint, then let it dry. And now we'll put the last 4 bamboo sticks on the inside. We're basically creating a frame within a frame. So we're just cutting the sticks down to size so they'll fit inside, and then we'll glue them all the way around the border. And that is covering up all of that glue we use to glue the sticks on the inside. It's okay if you cut it a little bit long. You can always trim it and then glue it into the corner. Now for the last piece. And our frame is done. So now we'll work on the decoration for the frame. I have this word blessed. Like I said, you can use any word, any decoration you want to decorate this with, but we're going to use this wooden word We got these at the Dollar Tree. They also sell a very similar pack at Hobby Lobby, and when they're on sale, they're almost the same price. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint this and then set it aside while it's drying. We'll work on making a flower. So we're going to take our satin ribbon and we're going to fold a triangle and heat it up with our lighter, and that helps us to press the ribbon down. Then I'm taking a post-it note or any piece of paper or cardboard that's 3.5 inches wide, and what you're going to do is you're going to lay this inside of your ribbon and use this to figure out where your next triangle goes. And then we're going to heat it up with the lighter and then press it with our finger. If you want to, if you have a mini iron, that will also work here. So now we'll turn the ribbon and you can see that the satin part is now on top. So we'll take our ribbon and we'll fold it under. Lining it up with that paper. And then we'll heat up the edge and press it so it stays. We're basically just making a crease. It doesn't have to stay long term. We're going to sew it. And then we'll turn it. Now you can see that the bottom edge of the ribbon is on top. So we'll fold the ribbon the opposite direction. And we'll just keep doing that all the way around. So depending on what part of the ribbon's on top, that dictates which way you're going to fold your ribbon. Once we get to the end, we're just going to take our needle and thread with our first triangle folded, and we're going to just go in and out following that top edge. I'm sewing about 1/4 of an inch or so onto the needle, and I just go making a in and out pattern following that top edge. And then once the needle gets kind of full, just pull it through and pull your your string all the way through also. You can see I'm just following that top edge. I'm just going in and out. It's very simple. And we're getting close to the next triangle that we made. We're going to pull that ribbon onto the needle and thread. And then we're at the triangle, so we're just following that top edge. And you'll need to turn the ribbon just slightly so that you're staying on that edge all the way down. And we're just making a ruffle that will make it really easy to spiral when we get to the end. Now I'm just doing, for kind of like an example, a small piece here. This is about 2 feet long. I ended up using 4 feet in total to create the whole flower. It's really up to you how much ribbon you want to use and how full you want your flower to be. You just keep working back and forth. Now we get to our triangle. Always make sure your triangle's folded the right direction before you sew it. And get all the way to the end, always following that top edge. And then you'll adjust the ruffle so it's all equally spaced. So like I said, this was an example, so it's short, but we're going to add more to this. So then you want to draw about a 2-inch circle on your felt and cut that out with your scissors, and this will be the base that we're going to glue our ribbon to. If you have a cat that can help you, it's always beneficial. They're really good at playing with the string. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of hot glue and start rolling the ribbon, and we're keeping the glue on that ruffled edge that we sewed with the needle and thread. Adding a little bit of glue and just rolling that bottom edge on top of itself and creating kind of like a rolled spiral in the center. Got a cat burglar, you guys see that? Little thief. They're always helping me, it's so funny. So anyways, we're going to put a little bit of hot glue right in the center of that felt, and then glue that piece of the flower that you've already started right in the middle. And then you'll add a little bit of glue to that bottom edge that you have sewn, and then start sticking it to the felt and the flower that's there. So you want to make sure you're gluing it down to the base. You might have to twist your ribbon a little bit to make sure that it's always going the same direction. And you're just slowly working your way around in a spiral, and gluing that bottom edge to the bottom of the flower and the felt. And you just keep wrapping it until you have the whole thing done. And then that bottom piece, or that last little piece that you're gluing on, you just want to kind of tuck it down underneath and then glue it to the ribbon on the side so it doesn't pop out. And now we've created this beautiful satin flower that we can add to our picture. Okay, so then we'll add a little bit of glue to the back of our felt flower, and we'll add the greenery to it. Just kind of hold it in place until the glue dries or it holds on. And then again to the felt base for your flower, a little bit of greenery to the other side, or however you would like it to look. And then go ahead and glue it on. I glued mine to the corner. And then we'll add that word that we painted earlier. We're just adding some hot glue, and we're going to glue it right to those bamboo sticks. And that's our first project. I hope you guys like that one. I love making those flowers. They're so fun. So now our second project, we're going to use these paper lanterns found over in the party section. We'll also use the peel and stick wallpaper, and we'll need one of their cutting mats found in the kitchen section. I'm going to use a razor blade and some double-sided sticky tape, also a pencil, and some scissors. And all of those items are found at the Dollar Tree. So let's get crafty. So the first thing we're going to do is kind of a review video as well. I found these paper lanterns at the Dollar Tree in the party section, and I was really curious how easy they were to put together, how big they were, and so I thought I would buy them and just put one together to see how it goes. So I found that if you fold all of the tabs in first, that's the easiest way to put it together. Pre-folding everything makes it go so much easier. And then this top section, you want to pop all these little rectangles and squares out, and that's just a decoration. You can toss those out. So then you'll want to fold in your top edges, and the directions are actually on the packaging on the cardboard. So you want to make sure you don't throw those away, so you can look them over real quick before you put these together. So everything folds in except for the very top edge. Those actually fold out. Once I have everything folded, I'm just going to take the bottom and fold it inside, and then the tabs slide in through the side. There are 3 of them, and that holds the bottom together, and it's actually quite secure. I like that it really held nicely. Like I said, this very top edge, you want to fold those out. Everything else folds in. You've got these little tabs, and you just pop those in for the corners. One for each corner. And you're basically done. Then there's this double-sided sticky tape at the top, and you'll just peel off that paper and stick these little tabs together. And that's it. They actually go together really easy, especially if you pre-fold everything. The only thing I didn't like about them is that they're not the same color on the inside. They're all white. So now I'm going to actually decorate this one. So I cut it open on the side, and I remove all of those little tabs for the openings. And we're going to make this look a little bit more farmhouse style instead of this bright pink. We'll throw all those tabs out. And then all I'm going to do is take that cutting mat and something to write with and a ruler, and we're going to lay that cutting mat right on top. And we're creating kind of like a frosted window with these cutting mats from Dollar Tree. So I'm just drawing the rectangle, and then we'll cut those out. And I'm going to actually cut one out for each piece. I didn't want to try to fold it because they're not very forgiving as far as bending them. I didn't think it would hold real well since the outside is paper. So I didn't want to try to fold it and then stick it into the corner there. I thought it'd be easier to put one piece on for each window by itself. And so you'll need 4 pieces altogether, and you can get all 4 pieces out of one of those cutting mats. And you get 2 cutting mats in the packet. I'm just checking my sizing to make sure that they all fit, and we'll set those aside for now. Now what we're going to do is take that wall paper, it's like a sticky wallpaper that they sell in those large sheets, and we're going to trace the lantern on top of the wallpaper. And you can use a pencil or a marker. And I should have thought ahead. I actually traced these on the wrong side, so I had to cut it apart, and I had to glue each piece on individually because I actually drew them backwards. So if you're going to make these and use the wallpaper, make sure you flip your wallpaper over. Just be mindful which way you're tracing it and how it's going to be stuck onto the lantern, or else you'll have to cut them apart. Like right now I have 2 pieces together, but they don't line up because I drew them on the wrong side. I actually had to glue all 4 or stick all 4 pieces on individually. So I have the bottom edge already done, and so I'm going to go ahead and put that one on. So I'm just lining it up. I don't remove all of the paper, the protective paper from the back. I just do a little bit at a time. And then you want to rub and make sure you get all the bubbles out, and then just trim off any excess that's hanging over. Just trim that off with your razor blade. And make sure you have some kind of a protective mat underneath. And then once you put that paper on, you're also going to have to remember that there are holes that you need to cut so that the tabs can fit down inside. So make sure you trace over the tabs with your razor blade so you'll be able to slide those pieces in when we put it together. Okay, and now we'll start adding our pieces to the front. And again, like I said, just be mindful which way you cut it. Since I didn't flip mine over like I should have, I have to glue each one of these on individually instead of doing 2 at a time, which would have been a little bit easier. And that little piece you can see on the edge, we're actually going to fix that later on. So don't worry about that. That's the piece we have to stick back together. So then I just flip it over and I use my razor blade to cut the openings and remove the extra wallpaper. Just go slow and very carefully. Use the cardboard lantern as your edge and just trace it. And then I trim all the way around the edges here, any little bit of excess. It's a little bit of work to take the extra paper off the edges, but I always like to cut it just a tad bigger so I know that it's going to cover all of the cardboard. So we do all 4 sides, and then we're going to start putting on those fake windows using the double-sided tape. So we're just ripping some double-sided tape and we're following that triangle pattern. And then we'll put a few pieces on the top and the bottom. remove all of the tabs and then stick our cutting mat right over the window, making sure to line it up so the whole window's covered. And we'll do that for all 4 windows, and then we're ready to put it together. So again, you want to go through and you want to fold all of your pieces. And I took an extra long rectangle and I glued that to the side. And then I removed this tab. I put the edges back together and then fold the wallpaper over the corner to stick our lantern back together. And then fold all of your tabs in and slide it together just like we did for the other one. This has a really fun kind of farmhouse feel to it. And I went back in and I touched up a few of the spots where I could see the pink paper. But I just love how this turned out. I think the frosted glass one looks really pretty. You could put a battery operated light inside. And of course we have our bamboo picture here. I hope you guys liked today's crafts. I really enjoyed making them for you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. I hope you all have a lovely day and I'll see you next time.